One thing that I've always hated about the world is the world itself. And I know that sounds kind of ironic, so let me get a little specific. One thing that I've always hated in the world is some of the people in it. And I know that also sounds kind of weird because obviously there are people that I do like, whether it be my friends, family, whatever. But as everyone typically has this opinion, there are people in the world that some people just don't like. But one thing that's really confused me about people is there's never really been this clear line on what makes someone more hated than the other person, or what they have done makes them more hated than the other person. I've never seen a really clear line between that, because sometimes you can see a really famous person do something that I would argue is just as bad as a common folk, quote unquote, person doing it, yet their punishment is always a little bit different. And today I brought two examples of two people that I would say are equally idiotic, or to put it simpler, both dumbasses. So a lot of people heard recently about this Philadelphia Eagles fan that took, if you can even call this bantering, too far. And I think that's kind of an understatement.
They got one more yard though. They're close. Yeah, but they're not in. It's not a touchdown. Yeah. So you don't jerk off. Come in the air. Okay, well, don't call her a dumb cunt. She's an ugly dumb cunt. Cool. After the third quarter. I'm ugly. You're doing it? I'm so hurt. Yup.
As you can see in the video, there's a couple who are Packers fans that went to the playoffs game against, or I believe it was the wild card game actually, of the Packers versus the Eagles, and this old grumpy fart just would not leave them alone. Now, this couple went on the news after and talked about it a little more, specifically the wife in this situation, and she kind of clarified that, there was friendly banter going around with all the other Eagles fans. It wasn't just ugliness, but from this one specific guy they had issues with. Now, if you go to sports games, obviously, if you are on the opposing team, it is very, very common for this kind of ugly, or I shouldn't even say that. It is very, very common for banter to happen between people, but typically, it is handled in a friendly or sporty way. It should never, ever be personal. It's a game. It's sports. Clearly, that was not the case here, as the old guy resorts to calling the lady a dumb Australian word for virtually no reason but being a Packers fan. Now, I think there's kind of some wrongdoing on both parts, because if I were the guy, or the husband in this case, I probably would have switched spots with my wife, just so she could be a little more separated from this guy. However, I would say that they appropriately handled this situation. They were very calm. You don't see them fight. You don't see them, even after him taunting to fight. You don't see them bantering or name-calling back to him. Overall, I would say that they handled it very well. Now, the justice system swooped in after this, because this man who was name-calling them was banned from ever going to an Eagles game, ever, as far as I know, again, ever. And I also believe that they sent the couple some Packers merch, which is super, super kind of them, very respectable. And I'm glad that this was handled very quickly. It kind of just goes to show the power that the internet can have. And in this case, I think it was used very well. I think all of what happened to this disgusting Eagles fan and this Packers couple was very justified. But again, I know Eagles fans are very infamously known for being very unbearable in the sports world. It's very common for a lot of not just athletes but fans to kind of have this stereotype or bar set for Eagles fans, this low expectation for them, which really sucks to hear, because you want sports to be fun, whether you're the home team or the away team. Again, there's nothing wrong with banter. There's nothing wrong with that. That's the game, and in a lot of cases it can make it more enjoyable and it can make it more fun. But you got to keep it respectful. You got to keep it, friendly. You can't get personal. There's really no need for that. And again, I'm really glad that the justice system swooped in very quick, and the internet was very quick to pick up on this and get justice for this couple and for this unfortunate old grumpy asshat. But let me talk about a case where not only has it really happened yet, but it probably won't ever happen. And yes, it does have to do with their social standings. To take a complete 180 of what we just talked about, I want to talk about something that has blown up even more than this recently that I find to just be completely hysterical. Elon Musk recently had a stream where he played Path of Exile 2. And a lot of people that know who Elon is, which at this point is probably everyone in America, knows that he kind of has this standard that he sets himself. Like, he almost advertises himself to be like this man, not necessarily born from God, but just like this very like, you should be thankful I exist kind of person. And before I get too far into this, I think there are good qualities about him. I think there are a lot of bad qualities about him. But again, that's not to say that there aren't some good things I do think about him. I think like the whole idea of Tesla and wanting to do this space exploration and making these electric cars are very good. I think they're very cool. I think they're very interesting. Even like when he just made that flamethrower for virtually no reason, but just that he could. That's cool. Made it out for the public. That's cool. It's interesting. At the same time, I think Teslas are incredibly expensive and are gouging the pockets of people that buy them. I mean, if you're not made of money, it's pretty much not the car for you. But I digress. Elon had this stream where he played Path of Exile 2. And he bragged beforehand about how he was one of the top players in the entire game. Billboard 200 or top 10 players of all time in Path of Exile, which is really cool on the surface level of things. But then you go watch his stream. You go watch him play the game. And I don't even think immediately is the right word to describe. Whatever's faster than that, at the speed of light, you can quickly determine that this dumbass has absolutely no idea what he's doing. There are many people that made videos about this, especially recently, but really the first one, or the best one, in my opinion, that Moist Critical touched up on as well, is the video by Quinn69TV, where he goes into a deep dive on why he pretty much lied to you. I won't go into as big of a detail as he did. I would highly, highly recommend just going watch his video on it because it is very interesting and funny. But to say the least, or to give you the Spark Notes version, basically he paid someone to boost his account or to grind for him. That way he could just play the game pretty much with the best equipment at the highest level and just kind of breeze through whatever he wanted to do. More recently, however, Asmongold made a video about Elon that got a little bit more traction than this other video. And it's very obvious that Elon has been seeing this evidence transpire. What I want to make very clear, or what I want to broadcast to the people that watch this video, is that one of the things that Elon is a big advocate for, or at least so he advertises, is freedom of speech, really wanting to keep that freedom of speech for the people and not being a person who abuses power. I want you to keep that in mind before I show you what I'm about to show you, because this is going to have a very big toll on what you're about to witness. So after the Asmongold video got released, again, it is very, very obvious that he saw, if not all of these videos, at least this one. He tweeted out, and I quote, "Asmon behaves like a maverick, independent, but in reality has to ask his boss for permission before he can do anything. He is not his own man." Immediately following that, he posted some screenshots of him talking to one of Asmon's, I would believe, editors, where you can see the admin saying, might want to take a second, account for it even, with Elon responding with, "Sure, who are these mysterious editors?" With the guy responding, two guys, Asmongold and this other guy named Cat Danny RU. They basically run the entire YouTube account LOL, so basically any content I post is edited or uploaded by them. You can immediately see the community note at the bottom saying Asmongold streams on Twitch, then allows his editors to cut and edit his content to create short form content for YouTube. He talks about it openly. Anybody that knows anything about how YouTube works or YouTubers work or streamers work know that this is pretty much common knowledge. This is a very, very common thing for YouTubers or streamers to do, and even the guy that Elon DM'd made that same statement, that this is very, very common in the YouTuber and streaming world. The reason I bring this up is because it's very obvious that Elon was not pleased by this video, was not pleased to hear this, but more important than that, after he released these tweets and after he saw this video, he took away Asmongold's verified or blue verification check on Twitter, which is an exact contradiction to his advertisement of being a man who does not abuse power and being pro freedom of speech. You just abused your power by taking away his check because he hurt your little feelings. And the reason I bring these two people up, this Eagles fan and Elon up in the same video, is to prove a point that this Eagles fan, who's probably labeled as more of a common folk or whatever, had very swift justice, had very, very, very appropriate justice, I would say. Whereas Elon's gonna do stupid shit like this and probably get no punishment whatsoever for it. And even if he does get backlash for it, which I truly believe he should, just like he did for the gaming stuff, it probably won't amount to anything other than him maybe giving Asmongold his blue check back, and that's a big maybe. Or I think Moist Critical put it best when he said, or better yet, I'll let him say it.
It's an abuse of power. His feelings got hurt, so he used his power as the fucking chief general of Twitter to take away his checkmark because he hurt his feelings, and then he goes on to leak DMs. How could you possibly look at that and be like, no, that makes sense. Elon was in the right here. Like, let's say you just love Elon. You know what? I'm not your dad. You can like whoever you want, like whatever you want. Doesn't matter to me. But why do you have to like something and then love everything they ever do? Why can't you be more receptive to, like, you know, I really like Elon, but this was a bad look. I didn't like what he did here. I think this was pretty embarrassing. That's called being normal. For some reason, people just can't be normal anymore. If you like something, you have to be obsessed with it. You have to fucking love it. You have to be, like, snorting that drug constantly and shut out and hate everyone who pokes holes in it. It's so weird. I don't know why people want to live their life this way. They just want, like, the black and white. Elon good. Anyone who said Elon not good, they're bad. Elon good. I don't know why people want that. No one likes to think anymore, and with the way the internet's gone, you don't have to think anymore. You can just wait for tweets to tell you what to think, or even ChatGPT to tell you what to think. I guess it's just easier to live your life on, like, drooling autopilot mode. But I would argue that you are doing yourself a huge disservice in life if you just live this way, where even if you really like Elon, whatever, why not just be receptive to the idea that he's not infallible? Maybe he does make mistakes. Maybe he is cringe sometimes. And you can acknowledge that, recognize that, and then at the end of the day, still like him if you want. It just doesn't compute with me. And of course, it's not exclusive to Elon. It's a very normal thing now all of a sudden where if you like something or like someone, anything that is brought up that's negative about it is like the end of the world to you, and then you spend hours a day arguing with bots on Twitter about it and defending the thing you like. I just don't get it.
And I completely agree with what he said. I don't see why it's not okay, or it is okay to like someone, but to not agree with something that they've done. I mean, I can give you a great example right now. I am probably one of the biggest Gorillaz fans you'll probably meet in a long time. But do I think every song, or shit, even every album they've released is good? Absolutely fucking not. I think there are some dog shit albums. In fact, I'll give you a great example. Their most recent album, Cracker Island, was a huge disappointment to me. Because when they released those first 5 singles before the album release, I thought they were absolute bangers. Some of the best songs that they made between Cracker Island, Silent Running, Baby Queen, Skinny Ape, and New Gold. I think those were some of the best songs that they've made like today. They're really, really great and catchy songs. But then they released the rest of the album, and literally all of those other songs I thought were terrible. I personally did not like them. But that's okay. I can still be a fan of someone and not like something that they make. There's nothing wrong with that. In fact, I would argue that being you can have that kind of honesty with something you like would make you very more critical and accepting as a fan, because you are willing to recognize when you don't like something from someone that you really look up to. I kind of just don't really see that same level of honesty with people who are fans or look up to Elon. It's kind of like an all or nothing thing. You either really, really hate him, you hate everything he does to your gut, or you really, really like him and nothing he ever does can be wrong, you know, or at the very least doesn't deserve punishment. And I just think that that is kind of this duality of man, or duality of humankind, where, you know, this Eagles fan who had this moment of low, and who knows, behind the scenes he could be a very, very nice person, or hell, even deeply regret what he did, but still understand the justifications. Nobody on the internet is going to feel that way. Everybody on the internet is going to see this guy and hate his guts, and probably never give a shit about anything he ever has to say, or never really give a shit about where his life goes from here. Whereas in Elon's case, he does something not once, not one stupid thing, but two stupid things, and probably in the next couple months people are going to overlook it and not really care anymore. And there really won't be any justice to it other than a couple of people slapping him on the wrist and saying, "Hey, Elon, you look like a big dumbass right now. Maybe don't, do stupid shit like this again." And I just think that's very ironic. I think that's very dumb. You know, where is the line drawn? And I think a big reason that it happens to work out this way is because Elon is this very big, rich, and wealthy man, and has this big fan base. You know, I think that is a huge reason why nothing will ever truly come out of this except for a slap on the wrist. It sucks even more that he gets to advertise himself as this man of justice, or I'm a pure guy, would never abuse power, and I love freedom of speech, but then go and directly contradict that by posting private DMs and taking away someone's blue check mark because they rubbed you the wrong way, or they hurt your little feelings. You know, it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But who really knows? Something good maybe could come out of this, and maybe Elon gets a wake-up call, you know? Don't think it will happen. But I am very, very willing to be proven wrong, and at the end of the day, my name's Cinema Dude, and what the hell do I know?